session indeed is related to the successful launch with Google App Campaigns, and the session will be for around 40 minutes. We will cover the key aspects like measurement, creatives, and then we will also have some time for questions and answers. Please write your questions in the chat, and I will be happy to answer. Yeah, my name is Daria Bogdanova. I work as a gaming growth manager at Google. Before we go to the actual content of the whole session, I would like to tell more words about myself. So apart from the fact that, yeah, I'm really passionate about gaming, apps, and work in tech. By the way, if you want, you can then add me in LinkedIn. You can find me as Daria Bogdanova. I'm personally from St. Petersburg, from Russia. So you can see these beautiful opening bridges in my city, where now we already have white nights. But currently, I'm based in Dublin, where the headquarters of Google is based. And here you can see our beautiful Samuel Beckett Bridge, which looks like an Arf, also like a symbol of Guinness and Ryanair. Some famous companies of Ireland. In terms of my personal interests, I really like dancing. So here you can see my teenage pictures, like first two in yellow and in blue dress where I was dancing when I was a teenager. Also, I pursued my dancing hobbies when I already was in Google. Here on the very right, you can see my picture taking part in a dancing contest of Google Greatest Talent. It was a very great experience. Also, I really like learning languages. I speak, also, apart from Russian and English, I speak Spanish, French, and Italian. And fun fact about maybe this quarantine, as now I can't do any more normal dance classes, I started to do virtual dance classes. And I learned, I would say, more than 5 dance routines. I did some videos, and I would say it's really great experience. I didn't know that you can be so engaged right at your kitchen. So I hope that you also pursue your hobbies and you continue to be effective even from your home. So that was some information about myself. Now I would like to go to the body, to the main part of our presentation. Before talking about the gaming and gaming launch itself, I would like to, of course, mention that now all the businesses, all the economy, the society, and of course the gaming industry is going through unprecedented times. On the one hand, of course, there is a race in gaming downloads as people stay more time at home. Now, like you can see what in March, for example, there were much more downloads than in the previous month, and this trend is much stronger than last year. So on the one hand, it's opportunity for gaming and mobile business in general, but on the other hand, of course, we understand that it's also a hard time for many people because we don't have this connection with our teams. Some people have problems with the networks. Also, a lot of events were cancelled, like DevGAMM, the offline event as well. Though we have this amazing virtual opportunity. So in whole this challenging, difficult situation, we, like Google, my partners, my colleagues, we are trying to give our best to our clients so that we can help you, arm you with all the best practices, best tools, so that you can really take advantage of the whole situation and not see it as a challenge, but more as an opportunity for growth. And before I go to the actual launch, I just wanted to mention that overall in Google, and I would say in any company, any context, we normally divide game life cycle into three main stages. The first one being pre-launch, where you try to test your game and maybe find some drawbacks and fix them, of course. Then you have the one of the main stages, maybe the main one, the launch and growth. There you really set your campaigns for success and try to acquire as many users as possible. And then you have the maturity phase when you try to engage the users that you already acquired and maybe bring more value, raise the value of those users. In this presentation, as I mentioned, and as Sergey has mentioned, I will focus on launch because here there my expertise lies. I work every day with net new clients or clients maybe who started with some other channels and come to Google. So I really see some mistakes, some misconceptions of those clients and try to help them. And here I would like to outline those mistakes that I see every day. So we will talk about the launch best practices. I will cover measurement, creatives, bits, budget, and structure of the campaign. Also, I will mention one secret tip, which is really important, but it's secret for the moment. Before that, I will also mention pro tip for pre-launch, the thing that is also important. Also, I would like to stress one thing, that this presentation is more to give you the idea of the best practices of some misconceptions. It's not like the precise recipe for all the games. It's just for you to understand the main mistakes. Then if you have a particular question, particular game, particular launch, of course you have to take into account many more details and to work much more with specific things to make it work. This you can discuss with your account manager or from Google, or maybe with your user acquisition managers from your team. But this presentation will give you an idea about the overall best practices. So let's go to the pro tip for pre-launch. I wanted to mention it because in my conversation with the clients, I noticed that not everybody is aware of this pro tip. So I really wanted to share it with you. So as many of you might know, you can do open beta in Google Play. This means that your app, your game is available on Google Play and people can download it, but if they leave some ratings or reviews, they won't stay forever. So if it doesn't work, it's not really a risk for you, and it can be a playground for you, so you really can test your game and understand the metrics and improve the metrics. So it's a really good idea to do it. As I mentioned, in this life cycle of the game, pre-launch is one of the phases, is the first phase. It's really important to invest your time and resources in it. Nevertheless, what many advertisers don't know is it's that you actually can run user acquisition campaigns during this phase. So in the volume that you want, in the quantity that you want, you can run some user acquisition campaigns with Google to maybe take more data-driven decisions and to have more volume in specific geographies with this open beta, and then have better decisions for yourself. The only thing, if you want to do it, you need to have the special access to it that can be given by your Google account manager. So if you're interested in this, please contact your Google account manager. If you don't have one, contact myself through LinkedIn, and we will figure out how we can make it available for you as well. But yeah, this feature is very interesting, very important. Now let's go to the launch itself, to the key best practices of the launch. And here, from my experience, I identified 4 main things, as I mentioned: measurement, creatives, bits, budget structure, and a secret tip. Now let's go to measurement. And this is the basic. When the clients are coming to me and say, hey, we want to make user acquisition for our game, I of course first start to talk about measurement, because it's a basic. Because if we can't measure what we are doing, what are the actions in our campaign, who are our users, we won't be able to set the campaigns and then drive revenue and profitability for you. Of course, it's a very complicated topic. We talk a lot about the specifics of it, but the key for success in this case, I would say, are those 2. First, to track all the events that matter of the user journey, and I will talk about with more details about which particular events matter for different models. The second one is to implement Firebase SDK and actually bid on the Firebase SDK, specifically if you do acquisition with Google Ads. Now let's go to some details about this. So in terms of tracking the events that matter, first, of course, when you do user acquisition, the most important type of conversions for all type of games is first open. You need to import it from a third-party tracker or Firebase, whatever the model of your game is. And I stress that first open is preferable to download, because, as you understand, is a higher quality download, because you don't want just the people who download the app, you want the people who at least open it, right? So this goes for both ad-funded model and in-app purchase model game. Then first case, you have ad-funded model. In this case, you need to also import the conversions that are linked with retention and also with ads monetization. For example, retention day 1, retention day 3, or the number of ads watched. Also, some conversions related to ad revenue, and maybe you won't really do the campaigns with this type of conversion. Probably you are focusing only on CPI and you will do normal install campaigns. But it's still important to import these conversions into your Google account for 2 reasons. First one, because if the system has more information about these type of actions that your users do, it will be able to find more efficiently the users that are doing installs, and it will be able to ramp up faster and finally bring you more value. So the more data has the system, the better for the performance. Second one is that when you import these conversions, it's also describes the user journey. So when you have them in the account, you can understand better the user journey, and also the person who works with you, like from Google, like me or myself, for example, this person also can understand better the user journey. Where is the churn? Where people stop doing actions? What is the level then they leave? So don't forget to import all the necessary conversions to the account, even if you are not going to use them. Then, if you have a game that is more in-app purchase based, of course, you need to import purchases. Don't forget about first open purchase for in-app model, but also we advise to import the conversions that are in between this first open and in-app purchase, because it also helps to describe the users better, so the system can have more information. Second, also you can see better the user journey. And also third reason why you need to add more conversion is that sometimes we don't have enough volume to do a campaign for purchase events, because if it's there are less purchases, like 10, 20 per day from unique users, we don't really do purchase campaigns straight away, because the system won't be able to learn. In this case, though, we can do campaign for kind of proxy event, so something in the middle, maybe not a purchase, but that the person sees a tutorial, or that the person clicks on a particular part in the game, after which usually goes the purchase. So don't forget to also import the conversions that are in the middle between first open and purchase. Then a very important part regarding the measurement is using Firebase SDK. I'm sure a lot of you are using Firebase, and it's not only the tool for attribution. It's a very complex tool that helps you with your ad monetization, with overall work with your game, push notification, etc. But from my point of view, like from my expertise, it's really important for the performance of your Google Ads campaigns, because it helps you to get much better performance. And there are two main reasons for that, why the performance getting better. First, as it's the tool that it's was created by us, it has much more signals that are being sent to the account. Therefore, the ramp up is much faster, so the campaign learns faster and can show you the results faster. Also, as there are some features on the back end, like for example, automated similar audiences, we also sometimes call them like lookalike audiences. It can scale bigger, so it can identify that who are these people who are likely to do the action that you want, and can scale much bigger and more efficiently. And so due to these two things, faster ramp up and larger scale that you can see on this graph, in the end, you can have much higher returns with your campaigns. And to prove this, I can show you one example of a game developer who we work with. It's from EMEA region. So one of my colleagues was working with this client, Game Goes, the name of the developer. They were one of the first clients to migrate completely from the third-party tracking to Firebase. Why did they do it? They wanted to have a higher ROAS, and they couldn't manage to do it with a third party, though all the best practices were in place. And so we decided with the team to advise them to go with Firebase. So they migrated in both Android and iOS. And as a result, they managed to increase the ROAS 20% in iOS and 40% in Android. So very good results. The management of the developer was really happy. And of course, we are sure that if they had the Firebase as the bidding tool, and if they were bidding for Firebase conversion from the very beginning, of course, they had this success from the very beginning. So consider using Firebase for bidding to improve your performance. That's it for the measurement part. Now we will go to the creatives part. And this is very, very important topic. I would say at least 50% of my time with the clients I devote to this, because there are not that many leverages that you can use to manage your campaign, and creatives is really big one, because on the one hand, it helps you to cover all the inventory that we have, like that we have YouTube, Search, Google Play, AdMob, all this inventory, and also it helps you to describe the audience that you actually want to target. And here, from my experience, I identified 4 main success factors and actions we need to do in order to be successful. The first one is important to ensure full creative asset mix. Also, it's important to have key creative formats for each campaign. Then focus on key success factors of the creatives to be engaging with your audience. And also, it's very important to understand that to tackle different networks, you need to also change your creatives. Now, let's go into more details for all of these key success factors. So the first of them, ensuring full creative asset mix. So as you know, to your ad campaign with Google, you can add text, images, videos, and HTML5 files. And here you can see the amount that you can add. For text, it's 4, for images 20, for videos 20, and for HTML5 also 20. So we also always encourage our clients, especially at the launch phase when they launch a new game, to cover all these gaps in terms of creative assets, especially for text, images, and videos, because on the one hand, as I mentioned, it helps you to cover all the inventory and so have higher probability of hitting your KPIs. And on the other hand, it helps you to describe your audience better, because with your creatives, you're actually describing who are these people who will be interested in your game. Therefore, try to cover all these assets. The most important of them are images, text, and videos. HTML5 are a little bit less important nowadays. We try to focus first on images, videos, and text, and then if you already have them or if you have resources to do them, you can also do HTML5, but focus first on videos, images, and texts, of course. Then we go a little bit more into detail. We go to the formats. So in videos and images, we have key formats that should be present in each campaign for you to cover all the inventory. And these formats are, first, landscape video, portrait video, and landscape image. Why they are important? Because they are covering the majority of the important inventory, and therefore they are able to bring you to your KPIs. Also, interesting thing is that, for example, landscape image is being shown for Android campaigns in a really high intent inventory in the Google Play search inventory. So then someone is searching for a game or an app in Google Play. They are being shown the results, and above they also see the ad. And to be in this particular place, you need to have the landscape image. If you don't have it, you won't be seen in this really high intent inventory. So don't forget to add it. Also, why it's important to add the videos, your own videos, because sometimes when advertisers don't add videos, the system itself creates auto-created videos, and they can look good. Actually, I saw examples that are really nice and good, but if for you it's important to have your brand, have your vision of your videos, it's better to have your own, so that you're really in control of what you are showing to your users, and you are sure that they will like it, or that you're showing what you want to show. That was about formats. And now I would like to talk to you a little bit about the key success factors for the creatives. And before that, let's talk about the reality of our audience, of how the audience is like in the modern time. For this, I have an amazing picture that illustrates the reality. So here you can see a small fish, and yeah. Unfortunately or fortunately, now people have a really short attention span, like a fish. I don't remember how is it according to science, 3 seconds, 5 seconds, but yeah, not much. So it's really important to have your creatives really engaging, interesting, smooth, and relevant for your clients. Otherwise, they will skip them, or they won't look at them, and it won't really work. And to really catch this attention, to be interesting, relevant for your clients, we have some success factors. I will show them now, like success factors across genres that we gathered from our experience, to give you some idea. Nevertheless, I would like to mention that every world, every game is a world itself. So it's necessary to look into details for each game, for each creatives, to really work on it and understand how we can improve it. So this won't give you the recipe how to fix your particular creative, but it will give you some idea and inspiration, I hope. So let's go to these success factors. So across genres, we see that the success factors are mostly, first, gameplay. For many game genres, gameplay is a king. It's important to show easy to onboard, easy to progress, not repetitive, and playful, engaging gameplay. For some genres, it's more important than for others. For example, for more casual games, of course, it's more gameplay that you need to show. While, for example, for other game genres, it's really important to show a story. And here you can show main story with the main line of your game, and also you can show sub-stories. This works, of course, more for mid-core, hardcore games, where players really need to fall in love with the game and to see what is behind this game, who are the characters, how they are living together, and what is behind, what is the idea. And linking to that, if you want to show several ideas, several messages in the video, we advise to use longer duration, like 30 seconds, 45 seconds. If you have only one message into your creative, you can go for a 15-second video or even less. Nevertheless, as you remember from the first slide, you can add many videos, up to 20. So we advise to play with the duration. So add different durations of the videos and try to see what works, what not. At the end, we never know what will work, and also the preferences of the people change. So add different durations of the videos, shorter durations with videos with one message, and longer duration for the videos with longer message. Then other 2 points is guide the user. So for example, when you're doing creative gameplay, try to guide the user, add banners that show what's happening in this creative, or what they have to do, or what is this whole creative about. Use also sound. Don't forget that, for example, YouTube usually is seen with sound, so it's really important to have voiceover or music because people listen to it actually. Then also very important thing for all the genres is speed effect. People don't like boring and slow creatives. You really need to make the creatives engaging and fast, so that in the attention span of 3 seconds, you really catch them. And here we talked about these success factors. I mentioned that gameplay might be more important for casual games. Game story might be more important for more hardcore, mid-core games. Here I would like to go to the last key factor of success for creatives, and it's about the networks, how to cover different networks. What's interesting here, that if you want to cover a specific network, you need to adapt your creative to this network. So if you want to cover AdMob, you need to focus more on gameplay narrative. If you want to cover more YouTube, you need to focus more on cinematic and storytelling narratives, because the system that decides where your ads are shown, it analyzes the creatives and decides where it goes. So for example, when we see with my advertisers that we don't have any inventory on YouTube, we try to make more storytelling cinematic creatives, also in landscape format, and like this we are able to cover more YouTube inventory. If we see that we don't have any inventory in AdMob, then we try to do more gameplay videos. And of course, in this case, you still need to think about what is your game. Is it a casual game or mid-core game? Of course, as we mentioned, is it a mid-core, hardcore game? You would focus more on game story, on cinematic storytelling creatives. Nevertheless, you still might do some gameplay videos if you want to cover AdMob. And other way around, I saw also casual games that were of course doing a lot of gameplay videos, but sometimes they were experimenting with some cinematic videos to cover also YouTube. So don't forget that to cover all the inventory, your videos should be different, both in terms of content and in terms of the duration. That was it about the creatives. Now let's go a little bit to the settings of the campaign. I called this part bits, budget, and structure. We normally talk about this with my clients, but we already talked about measurement and creatives, and now we try to define the strategy. And here it's very important to understand how in general the app campaign optimize with Google. The thing is that, as you know, everything is based on machine learning, and machine learning eats and feeds with data. So for it to work in the very beginning, you need to have kind of high amount of volume of users and of data for it to learn and to achieve your KPIs. And of course, this volume is given by the cost. So in the very beginning, it's important to have quite good investment and sufficient bits and budget for it to optimize. Otherwise, you will never be able to achieve your success in the long term. So for you to have the proper results, you need to secure enough user volume, especially in the very beginning. And for it, you need to have first competitive bids, then sufficient budgets, and a proper campaign structure. Now I will explain you what exactly I mean and even show you some examples. So let's start with the competitive bids. With this, I would say I meet every day. Many of my clients, they really know what they want, and they want which bid they want to achieve to get to their ROAS KPIs, and they set the bid that they want to have in the very end. While they don't take into account the first metaphor that I mentioned, that in the very beginning, we need to be very competitive and bid high, have higher budget in order to give more freedom to the system and for it to learn. So they make the mistake of putting very low bid, and because of this, the system never gets the chance to learn and to give you the final KPI. So here you have an example. It's just a graphic. It's not any particular client or advertiser. You can see that for the similar game, similar situation, in the first case, we put in the very beginning the bid of €1, and over time, the campaign achieved 53 cents. It's good, maybe, because it still got lower, but probably it's not exactly the perfect situation because it didn't get low enough. In other situation, similar game, we put the bid of €2, but the system had that many installs and so much volume and high quality volume, tried that many inventory, that finally we were able to achieve the CPI of 16 cents. So it explains that it's very important to have the competitive bid at the launch for you to get to a lower KPI in the end. It's maybe not logical, a little bit counterintuitive, but it works like this, because when you put higher bid, you help the system to learn and have higher volume in the beginning. Then the second important point is the budget. And here, as I mentioned, it's important to have a sufficient budget, especially in the very beginning. Don't forget that for installs campaign, you need to put at least the budget of 50 multiplied by your bid for install. For action campaigns, it's important to have the budget of 20 multiplied by your action. Otherwise, there won't be enough volume. And I would say for install campaigns, we even have this multiplier higher, even 100, 200, because it's really critical to have enough volume. Then also, don't forget that in the first days of the campaigns, when you already launched it with a good budget, good bid, sometimes your campaign will be limited by budget. You might remember this thing in the account. And here it's important to try to mitigate it and get rid of this limited by budget, increasing gradually by 20% or 30-50% every 3-4 days the budget. You might not get rid of limited by budget at all, especially for install campaigns, because there are many installs, we have a lot of inventory, but still try to have more freedom and more budget so that you will have more volume for your campaign. Then other point that I wanted to mention is the campaign structure. What I see sometimes is that many advertisers they have excessive granularity in their campaigns. For example, they have one campaign for each country, or even one campaign per language per country. So there might be a campaign for Germany for English, a campaign for Germany in German, and it's not really the best practice for the same reason, because like this we won't have enough volume per campaign. Whenever we have a chance, we try to cluster the countries, and it's based on two factors. First, ROAS. Second, language. By ROAS, I mean the monetization and the behavior of your clients in this particular country. So if the amount of purchases and the average amount of purchases is the same in the country and they speak the same language, like it can happen, for example, in UK and the Nordic countries, you can group them. Also, for example, if in Colombia and Mexico, your game is monetized in the same way and they speak the same language, Spanish, you can have them in the same campaign, and it will be only better because there will be more volume for your campaign. You can talk with your UA manager about the possibilities, or with your Google manager if you have one. But yeah, try to cluster them as much as you can if they are similar enough in terms of return on investment and language. So we talked about the main key success factors for launch. We talked about measurement, creatives, and the settings of the campaign. So we have all the tools. We created the campaign. And what is now our secret tip for the success? What is the final thing what we are missing? And I would like to visualize it with a picture. What you can see here, it's a fisherman. He prepared everything. He brought his equipment. He probably brought the food for fish. He set everything up. And now what does he need to do? He needs to wait. Correct. And the same happens to us in the advertisement. To get the fish that we want, to get the roast that we want, we just need to wait until they get this fish. And it's really linked to what I was saying before. Everything is based on machine learning. So first, we need a lot of data for the campaign to learn. It's also linked with the budget and bids. But afterwards, we also need some time to digest all this information to give you the real results. And here, remember that before you actually assess the results and make any changes to the campaign, you need to wait for 2 weeks for install campaigns before you assess the results and also do big changes, and for 4 weeks on average for action campaigns, because the system needs a little bit more time to learn for action campaigns because more factors are taken into account. Also remember that the campaign is improving its performance and the results after it's marked as learning. If you are familiar with the interface, above each campaign, you can see the learning in the very beginning, like maybe for 3 days for each campaign, but then it disappears. What I want to stress is that even after it disappears for the first 2 to 4 weeks, it's still learning and it's still improving. Also, be aware of the conversion lag, because, for example, if you do the campaign for purchases, not all the purchases will happen in the day of install. Not all the people do the purchases on the day of install, and after 1 week, 2 weeks, a lot of conversions, a lot of purchases will be attributed to the day of install. So also you will see better results, and you really need to be aware of that. That was a secret tip. I hope that you liked it. And now I would like to summarize our presentation so that you know what you need to consider and what you need to do when you launch your next campaigns with Google. So remember that you need to set your measurement properly, track all the important conversions, even the ones for which you are not going to do the campaigns. Still, you need to add them in order to have the proper user journey measured and give enough information to the system. Also, implement Firebase SDK and bid on the conversion from Firebase SDK to have a larger scale and faster ramp up. Then, for creatives, use full range of formats. Don't forget about key formats: landscape, video, portrait, video, landscape, image. And also remember to be engaging, fast, smooth, and cover different networks by using more gameplay or more cinematic videos. In terms of the setting of the campaign, don't forget to have sufficient budget, competitive bids in the very beginning, and avoid excessive granularity of your campaign. And finally, the secret tip, remember our fishermen. Don't forget about the learning period. Wait until it's finished to assess the result and make any changes to your campaign. So, dear colleagues, that was it for the content. I hope that it was useful for you. Don't forget to add me in LinkedIn. I will be happy to help you with your game launches if you still don't have a Google partner. So contact me and we can talk about the user acquisition for your game. And now I'm open for your questions. We don't have that much time, 13 minutes, but I will be happy to answer your questions. Performance measurement. Sometimes Google Ads gives low score to video which have a high CTR rate. It's mind-blowing a little. Maybe you can comment something about that. Okay, actually this question I receive very often. So Vladimir asked me about the low rating in the Google Ads account. The thing is that in the Google Ads account, for each creative, after some time, you have the performance rating, and it can be low, good, or best. And this performance is indicative. It is based on the probability of the particular asset to be used in the inventory and in the ads. So basically, it is based on how many impressions are probable to happen to this particular asset. We usually try to use this metric together with other metrics like your CPI, CPA, and the amount of actions, because it's indicative. So a particular asset can have a low rating, though it has high CTR, because it has high probability of being shown and used for the ads. So it's one of indicators. You can look at it, but we also advise you to together with this particular metric, look at the other metrics which are important for you, like CPA, CPIs, etc.
All right. Let me ask one more question.
Yeah, sure.
So in your talk, you've mentioned using of machine learning to optimize various parameters, right? So as we know, machines love as much data as possible for such purposes. So the question is the following: do you train your AI across all your clients, so that every client benefits of other clients' data, or is machine learning each client specific?
Mm-hmm. In this case, we of course, as a global company that helps the client across the world, we are trying to use as much information as possible. Mostly, of course, we are using the information that it's not related to particular clients, because anyway, we have so much information in YouTube, in Google Maps, in search, that are overall about the audience, about the specific demographics. But of course, when we have the specific information, specific clients, it can be taken into account to improve the performance of other clients as well. But it's it follows all the necessary requirements of privacy, and of course we never share it. And I would say it's mostly the machine learning mostly depends on the information that we have globally in open sources like YouTube, Google search, etc. Yeah, dear colleagues, thank you so much for joining the session. It was a pleasure for me. If you maybe didn't ask some questions because you wanted to ask them in Russian, don't hesitate to contact me through LinkedIn, or I still will be in the Pine Tool during the whole day. So I will be happy to chat with you. And yeah, I wish you all the best. Stay safe, stay home, and hopefully we will see each other live on the next offline DevGAMM.